Welcome to another edition of Pittsburgh Sportsline. Thanks for watching the show. We appreciate it. Watch us on Channel 32, Verizon, from Nemacolin all the way to Cranberry, Wexford, and everywhere in between, even Bethel Park. Only Comcast 7 in Bethel Park. Keep running into people that are watching us on Comcast 7 in Bethel Park. They enjoy the show. Even you, Smoking Jim. They like you a lot. Little Z and Zach Brenner, as he's known, and Chip the Prophet Hayner. I happened to be at the Market District today, and our girl Renee there said to say hi to you guys and likes the show. And then as I'm up there, I run into a couple other people that, see the talking machine. Of course, I was wearing this shirt that Zach Brenner got for Pittsburgh Sportsline without any BC on it. They loved it. And James, I'm going to talk about this on What's on My Mind, but he went up to New England, and I got a scoop for you, and it ties in with Smoking Jim and Tom Brady. So it'll be very interesting. Right. But thanks for watching our show on that. We just hit a brand new high, and I'm not stuttering, 46. So that's the Jim J. We've never been at that level. So
that's
thanks,
the
everybody.
Number, play it.
Oh, no, it's after 7. My dad's looking down on us. Alan, why didn't you tell them earlier? But he loved playing a couple digits, Smoking Jim, and he wasn't bashful about it. But that's another story. Olive Oil's Pizzeria, Tiger, I got to put you through this. We mixed it up here, the sausage pizza and my pepperoni and sausage slice. Ryan was delicious. They got a couple new people. Call 412-831-1900. Talk to the new guy, Mitchell, there. He's a rookie, so tell him you want some of the deals that Pittsburgh Sportsline's getting. So appreciate them being a sponsor for us. Thanks to Tiger, the Kiger, on the camera. Devin Shea's coming in with our clock so we can see the time. So we started on time. And who else do we have in there? Anybody else in the control room? We got our man Greg, who just did a fine job on the boxing that we had, Smoking Jim. He's the guy. Zach, he edited it. He did a nice job. Zach was on the camera, exclusively on the camera, and a couple times on the mic. So we got that happening. I'm Al Levine, the talking machine. We got Chip the Prophet Hayner. We got Smoking Jim Frazier munching on a couple pieces of pizza. How'd you get 4 cuts? And Zach Brenner come in tonight. So we're all on time. Can't beat that. And we're going to start with our first segment of What's on Your Mind. Zach Brenner, are you ready? What's on your mind?
Well, Al Levine, the talking machine, I got the memo, and I'm going to dial it down this week, Smoking Jim. I've only got a couple points less than I had last week. But I wanted to start out with tonight, folks. You always love my opening Bucco report. They won 8 in a row, then they dropped 3. So in a 162-game season, I'm still not sold on those Buccos to me, Smoking Jim. But Chip and I'll fill you guys in later on all your baseball talk.
Just to verify, they're 8-3 in their last 11, right?
No comment with you two. The sandbox and the Bucco side is firing away. Thanks for your report on the Buccos, Zach. Oh, you got another point?
To what's really on my mind tonight, folks.
Okay, I was confused.
It's not very often that I come in on a Tuesday and I'm pumped up to talk about golf. Not that I'm really pumped up to talk about golf, but I did happen to watch the 2015 U.S. Open. Like I know Smoking Jim Frazier was dialed in on his 92-inch flat screen TV. But much to my chagrin and dismay, Smoking Jim Frazier, Chip Hayner, and Al Levine's lawns were all better kept than the green surface at the 2015 U.S. Open in Chambers Bay, just a little outside of Seattle. Now, I was under the impression that they got a lot of rain in Seattle. So for a place that got a lot of rain, they sure did, Chip, dry out and did everything possible to make sure that those greens were as treacherous as humanly possible. But to finish my point, I never understood why the U.S. Open tries to make our U.S. Open like the British Open. It's not the British Open. That's over the pond. This is here in America. We have some of the most gorgeous, pristine, well-kept golf courses in all of the land, and you decide to play it at somewhere like over in Smoking Jim's neighborhood over in God's country. But the last thing that's on my mind, I just want to give a shout out to the Who Can Mexican, Sammy Vasquez. He overcame an illegal headbutt and a vicious elbow and got the job done out in Vegas at the MGM Grand on CBS on Sunday on Father's Day. So happy belated Father's Day. And that's what's on my mind tonight, folks.
Thanks. The first part of it's a little sketchy, so the disclaimer is he's not really a Pirate fan. He's still trying to jump on board the bandwagon. But stay tuned. Maybe after this Cincinnati series.
We'll keep a seat reserved for him.
Yeah, it's still there.
Plenty of room.
Smoking Jim Frazier, what's on your mind?
Thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine. And if you want the green,
Hey, here's a new pen.
you got to see Levine.
Give that
my
back.
Old college, high school option quarterback.
Where were you at? Because we're still investigating that. We found no little Jimmy Frazier anywhere in Western
Well, I
Pennsylvania.
don't know about we, but I'm sure there's still, when you play at the Powerhouse Gateway High School at USA Today 3 years ago, Gateway had 55 scholarship athletes playing college football, which was the most of any school in the country. Some of your photos might have been replaced by some of the legends, but when you win a state championship, I'm sure there's still photos circulating.
I like how strong. Go ahead.
One thing we know we won't find is state championship pictures anywhere in Keystone Oaks.
As long as he ain't good, still Valley.
I can't believe after 3.5 years, I finally got it, folks. Mr. Jovial, according to Billy Nardosi, finally snapped out, and that was his snap out on my alma mater.
And we all know I love Keystone Oaks, the Nelson twins, and some great tradition.
Aren't
over
they
there
taller
from
than you
Uncle.
too? So
Well, like I said, my uncle and then my dad still talks about the game. They went to see the Nelson twins against Faro, I believe.
yes,
Heck
it
of a
was.
game.
Yeah.
Heck of a game.
Don't talk about the results.
But anywho, what's on my mind? Hey, Lil Z, a little later we're gonna talk Pirate baseball. Well, I can't wait, Little Z. I can't wait. It's not. I tell you what. There's only been 29 perfect games in the history of Major League Baseball.
23.
And I tell you what, this group of Pittsburgh Pirates got a lot of quit in them. But I tell you what, these guys. Listen, I'm a Bucco fan, but there's some holes in that pitching staff right now. I love Garrett Cole. Garrett Cole is outstanding right now, but he only has 2 pitches, a fastball and a slider. You can't win the World Series with 2 pitches. Francisco Liriano is a middle of the rotation type of a pitcher. A.J. Burnett at the beginning of the season looked like he's 21 years old. Now he's pitching like he's 50 years old. And those last 2 guys should not be in the starting rotation in Major League Baseball. Look for the Pittsburgh Pirates to start sliding. I don't count. I'm a baseball traditionalist. There was no wild cards years ago, so in my opinion, the Pittsburgh Pirates hadn't made the playoffs since 1992. And I tell you what, they'll never catch the St. Louis Cardinals because you got to have more heart. Somebody pitch a perfect game shows me you got too much quit in you and not enough heart in you. And that's what's on my mind.
Smoking Jim, that was one of your most incredible fiction and facts segments that that wasn't fiction and facts. Stay tuned for that. There will actually be facts.
No,
I'm more excited for that now.
More fiction than fact.
There will be a lot of factual baseball comments coming up. For you folks that are new to the show, these are the Sandbox Boys. And you understand a sandbox if you have kids. Smoking Jim may not, maybe not Zach. But he's been around kids. They like kicking that sand up a little bit.
If I may.
You can give 10 seconds because that's all it's going to take to rebut that.
Okay, so let's say first first off we brought up the U.S. Open. Would that be the U.S. Open that Tiger Woods didn't win? Oh, or did he even make the cut? Not. And my friend Jim, do you realize that in the entire existence of the Pittsburgh Pirates, they have never become the victim of a perfect game?
Until
Thanks
the other
to
day.
Jose Tabata, they were not a victim this Sunday. So that's Just
no
to
hitter.
set the record straight.
Another minor league.
Tell them how many
No
no-hitters
hitter.
in Major League history to correct that. There's a
perfect
fact.
games pitched in Major League history is 23. So you were off by a few, but that's okay.
He's a football scout. You can be off a little bit.
What is on my mind tonight? What is on my mind tonight is Rule 21, Paragraph D.
What?
Okay? Now, you may wonder what this is. This is a rule that is posted in every clubhouse in Major League Baseball across the United States.
Can't bet on it.
Rule 21D states betting on ball games, and I will quote the rule because I wrote down this so that there is no question as to what
No
the rule
ambiguity.
is.
No ambiguity.
This leaves it completely black and white. There are no shades of gray. Any player, umpire, or club official or employee who shall bet any sum whatsoever upon any baseball game in connection with which the bettor has no duty to perform shall be declared ineligible for 1 year. Any player, ump, or club or league official who shall bet any sum whatsoever upon any baseball game in connection with which the bettor has a duty to perform shall be declared permanently ineligible. So, yesterday the news was released that not only has Pete Rose bet on baseball when he was a manager of the Cincinnati Reds, he bet on baseball when he was a player for the Cincinnati Reds. The rules are very clear. Pete Rose, you're never getting back in. You'll never be in the Hall of Fame. Go away. But that's the last I have to say about Pete Rose. Goodbye.
And you can see that posted on Pittsburgh Sportsline with the actual notes from the bookmaker, Smoking Jim.
If I may, though.
We'll open up 10 seconds.
Can I get 10 seconds? Sure. How impressive is it, though, that Pete, you know why Pete Rose ran so hard and played so hard? Because he had money on the game.
Yay, Pete.
Not necessarily that.
Good point.
Hey,
Great point.
When you start running into
That
the
was the
catcher,
best 10 seconds ever on this show, right
when you
there.
start
You
running
heard
into
it.
the catcher Levine in an all-star game, what the heck? What the heck? He had money on the game.
I think I put that one to rest.
They're on your side now. I like it.
No.
Hey, the rules.
not.
The rules are what the rules are.
Rules are made
So
to
listen,
be
folks, real quick.
changed.
You're not going to have the all-time hitter in the Hall of Fame, and you're not going to have the all-time home run champ. Neither one of them are going to be in the Hall.
And that was their choice.
And there you go. You got some facts coming out finally. It's hard to believe.
Al
There's a
Levine?
breakthrough. Oh, let me think what.
What's on your mind, Al Levine?
You covered a few different things. Well, getting back
Keep that.
to my visit to the Market District where we have a huge fan base there. James was up in New England, and he said, "Hey, Talking Machine, I want to give you a report from New England." And in his Boston accent, he started to tell me, because I was drinking a nice cup of rooibos red tea, because he's back where the coffee is at the Market District. He goes, one of my friends is a professor, and his neighbor is the guy who's in trouble, Jimmy, with Deflategate. So I go, what a great country this is. He goes, the story on it is, you know that Goodell and Kraft are related through marriage.
I didn't know that.
So that's one connection. He said, nothing's going to happen to Brady because he didn't do anything. I said, I hate to bring this up on air because Smoking Jim's riding that broom everywhere that's what's going to happen. So I don't know what happened at their meeting today, but I'm sure Kraft was calling up and talking to his cousin Goodell to see what's going on. But then we have another lady come by, and one of my favorite baseball players, Babe Ruth, comes up. And she goes, hey, James, guess where I was? He goes, where? She goes, at the Babe Ruth Hall of Fame in Baltimore. So I go, did you see one of his big bats that were like 42 ounces or 54 ounces? She goes, no, they had these little skinny bats. So I said, I don't remember Babe Ruth using a small bat. So I Googled it, and she goes, will you check it out? I saw it there. And at the museum, she goes, you got to go there. I said, well, not tonight. I'll be on air. So I didn't go there. Instead, I went to the museum online, checked it out. Babe Ruth was using like 35-inch, 35-ounce bats later in his career. He used a bat, and Chip, you'll appreciate this, a 54-ounce monster bat, and he used to have 42-ounce bats. He set some of the baseball records, all these ones back when he first hit 29 home runs, more than, as you guys should learn in baseball, that was more home runs than all the teams put together.
That's amazing.
So when people say, what do you talk about Babe Ruth? Now I go home and there's something on Facebook, they should retire Babe Ruth's number 3. So I posted it, I agree. And they started naming all his statistics. He still has some 3 major ones with batting percentage and slugging percentage. And he was hitting 350 for years until the end of his career. Yes, sir.
Question: he didn't have 3,000 hits?
No, because they didn't care about 3,000 hits and
No,
it
I
didn't
was
mean
just
anything.
wondering. I was shocked
No,
that he
he's,
had
not,
that.
he's not a member of the 3,000 hit club.
Okay.
It didn't mean that's probably the only club he's not in.
Neither is Barry Bonds.
Yeah, I see that.
He created that, but they didn't count about 3,000 hits until guys started obtaining
Yeah,
that.
Barry Bonds 2,935.
Yeah, and they shut him down before his body broke down. So, because you know when you're on that clear, things don't always stay clear.
Or the cream.
Yeah, and the cream, whatever. But how about that for Babe Ruth? So I say retire number 3.
I agree.
He changed the game of baseball and made it an offensive league.
I like that.
But hey, just on one note, and I know Jim believes that Tom Brady's going to play on first
Well, I
week
brought
of
it
the
up,
season.
I got money on it.
But here's
Huge.
what the thing is. Everybody claims that Tom Brady didn't do anything. The reason why Tom Brady's in deep water was because of the mockery he made of the investigation and his lack of cooperation. That's why he'll stay suspended. You'll see.
Frivolous.
He's looking at, get the dictionary out. We got a
Like
little frivolous.
Like a frivolous lawsuit, right?
Hey, before we move on to anything else, we had one of our guests, Lacante. He's doing a relay for life with the American Cancer Society. We discovered it's at the fairgrounds, South Park Fairgrounds, about 8:30. They have teams out there, so go support that. He was a great first-time guest last night, and we got that out. Thanks. You got my face there. Appreciate it. Then we had Billy Nardosi. I don't know if you can get this card. I'll put it out so you just don't get a talking head here. He writes poems in the Post-Gazette, and he's on The Fan. He gave one of the best interviews for a gentleman who's not a sports fan. He's on The Fan, and we're not. I don't understand this. All right, that's the end of what's on my mind. Well, since Zach teased us about baseball, we got to do our special segments first, and baseball's coming. All right, we're only 20 minutes into the show.
I know everybody just doesn't change that dial, man. They can't wait for that juicy.
Well,
baseball
Chief,
talk.
he just went for dessert. Chief is grabbing some dessert because he can't wait to hear about baseball talk. He can tell you more stats. He reads statistics on baseball, Elias and everybody else. You have to find out about who Elias is. Thanks, Chief, for watching. We'll hope to see you. Maybe your schedule with the Post-Gazette will change. You can come out on a Monday night. That Duke's Rib House and Grill's not that far away. All right, let's get some fiction and fact. Oh, I can't wait for this. Smoking Jim's Almanac.
Thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine. But we're going back. I tell you what, you got to tip your cap to Alex Rodriguez. And this is a guy.
Hey, Roy.
This is
Hey, Roy.
Alex Rodriguez became only the 29th player in Major League Baseball history to hit for over 3,000 hits. And he's only the 3rd player in Major League Baseball history to have over 600 home runs and 3,000 hits. He joins Hammer and Hank Aaron and Willie Mays, 2 other outstanding players. But it takes me back to 2008, I believe. 2006.
Which is it?
When the All-Star game was played here in Pittsburgh. Had an opportunity to meet Alex Rodriguez. High Tops, which was a sports bar adjacent to the PNC Park, they had a red carpet walk for the All-Stars, and I was assigned to walk the red carpet with Alex Rodriguez. Was a little surprised how tall he was, how big he was, what a gentleman, very nice guy, very well spoken. and I remember he had a sport coat on that day. Sharp dressed guy. And this was 2 years before he got involved with Madonna, and I'm sure she probably had something to do with him getting the steroids. But
how can you say that?
But
He was taking the steroids long before
Yeah.
that.
But this is a guy.
He's
who
a
had
multiple repeater.
Heck of a career. He's rejuvenated his career this year, having a great season. And that's my fiction and facts from Smoking Jim's Almanac. The red carpet walk with Big Alex Rodriguez.
Smoking Jim, I appreciate the facts, but there's another gentleman who will not be in the Hall of Fame.
I'm questioning the legitimacy of this. All the best players with the best records.
You ready for Chip's trivia time? All right, thanks, Smoking Jim and the Sandbox Boys. They're fighting a little. I like that little split in there. Now we got Chip's trivia time.
Well, just to make a little comment about my friend Jim's All-Star experience, what does Alex Rodriguez and Pete Rose have in common? You can tell when they're lying. Their lips are moving.
I've heard that on others, Chip. That's a good one.
Okay.
It's a new, fresh one for our boys there.
But, Alan was speaking about the greatness of Babe Ruth. And you know what? And I do think it's a valid statement to make for everything that Babe Ruth did for Major League Baseball over the years, and still does to this day. Yes, they should retire number 3 right after they retire number 21.
Well, I'm with you,
Roberto.
I'm with you on that one. So.
Yep, but way back in 1917, I got some Babe Ruth trivia here for you. In baseball's greatest relief effort ever, Ernie Shore of the Boston Red Sox relieved pitcher Babe Ruth with nobody out and a man on first. The base runner was cut down stealing, and Shore retired all 26 batters he faced to gain a 4-0 victory over Washington. Ruth walked Eddie Foster to open the game and was ejected after arguing with the umpire.
It almost come to fisticuffs, they say.
Really?
Yeah, that's our man.
No, we go from, the history in baseball. Sometimes I like to go to a little bit of the irrelevant or irreverent in baseball. But a former Chicago White Sox announcer who was previously a White Sox ball player, he was playing for the Mets this time in New York. In 1963, June 23rd, Jimmy Purcell, playing for the Mets, hit his 100th career home run. And what he did to celebrate his hitting this 100th career home run was he circled the bases backwards.
Wow.
He was also a little crazy, Smoking Jim.
Okay.
You guys would get along fine.
And on June 19th, 1941, which was probably one of the greatest summers in Major League Baseball, because not only was that the last year that anybody hit 400, but Joe DiMaggio set a record, which I believe will never be broken. En route to his 56-game hitting streak on June 19th, Joe DiMaggio hit his 32nd consecutive game with getting a base hit. So he was well on his way. June 19th, 1942, Paul Wainer got hit number 3,000.
Wow.
Another one of those pirate greats. But we hear all the time that we think that some people think, not I, that the American League has a better product because they don't let the pitchers bat. Well, here's a couple of examples of how a pitcher can influence the outcome of a game. Rick Wise of the Philadelphia Phillies, June 23rd, 1971, pitched a no-hitter against the Cincinnati Reds and hit 2 home runs. 1973, Ken Brett, pitching for the Philadelphia Phillies, hit a home run in the fourth consecutive game that he pitched in June. He beat Montreal 7-2. So you know what? Pitchers can swing the bat. If you make them swing the bat, they will swing the bat. And I mentioned a couple weeks ago about something that was quite of note, and that was Johnny Vandermeer's pitching consecutive no-hitters. This after the Pirates got no hit on Sunday. Cincinnati's Yule Blackwell almost duplicated Johnny Vandermeer's double no-hit record by following up his June 18th gem over Boston. Brooklyn's Ed Stanky singled with 1 out in the 9th to end Blackwell's bid. and Blackwell ended up with a 4-0 no-hitter. So, this has been a long history of it. There have been 13 times in Major League Baseball history when a pitcher went into the ninth inning with a perfect game, and with 2 outs in the ninth inning, lost their no-hit, their perfect game bid. Max Scherzer shouldn't have pitched inside. You should have thrown it on the outside.
Here,
corner.
1 point on Scherzer. His last game was a one-hitter, Smoking Jim.
Yes.
So he is sort of a dominating pitcher.
18 innings.
The other team,
0 runs, 1 hit he gave up over 18 innings. I believe he had 18 strikeouts in the process. But right now, it's hard to argue that he is the best pitcher in
Glad
baseball.
Jose dove in there with his
He
elbow.
didn't. I'm glad you watched the video.
Yeah.
It happened so quickly, and that pitch was so.
I don't think
I
it hit
didn't
him.
even see
I don't
it.
even think it hit him.
It hit
It
it. You
hit
watched
him.
the flight of the ball, but I'm sure the numerous times that you watched the replay and analyzed that frame by frame.
Well, being a baseball historian, how can you not watch a lot of film on that? So,
Frame by frame. Freeze frame, right, Jim?
on that, let me clarify. It's a 99-inch flat screen TV. So you can see the name on the baseball and the threads. You can see the red threads on it in your screen.
Right? I was watching it on my other TV where I had the
black and white one?
The floor model on the floor.
Yeah, the black and
for
white.
the sound, and then I had the little TV up for the picture. Remember those old days?
Yeah.
So I seen the
Which
real
godchild? Which godchild was holding that foil?
Was that the back of the day when you had a picture in a picture?
That poor godchild that he had. One of his 13 godchildren had to take turns because they were cramping up, I heard.
That's the way you spend Father's Day,
Hey,
brother.
Jim, you want to keep a copy of Rule 21?
No, thank you, because it'll be
He
changed.
doesn't read.
That is
It'll get
verbatim.
changed.
That is verbatim.
It'll
Chip,
get
before we
changed.
move on, he doesn't read. He writes.
Yeah.
Well, can I ask you guys one quick
Sure,
question?
sure.
If somebody had a drug problem, because gambling addiction is the same as a drug problem, would you throw them out of baseball? I'm just asking.
Well,
Would
No,
you-
they
no,
haven't.
the question is a very valid one because there's not a rule in baseball that says if somebody has a drug problem that you throw them out of the game permanently. There is one about betting. It's that
And I'll
simple.
give
But
you
it can be
another.
changed.
Wait, let
It
me
needs
give
to
you
be
another little
changed.
history since you're a
In
traditionalist.
95 years, they haven't changed it.
I guess
don't
the
think
I
it's
guess
gonna
the
happen
big
in your
reason though
lifetime.
is for it, Smoking Jim, is that having a drug problem is not going to be the same as if you bet. If, like you're gonna. What if you bet against yourself on that particular night? It's going to affect the outcome and alter the outcome of the game.
Hence the Black Sox.
And what if Macaroni Tony's got his thumb breakers in the dugout waiting for you to come in when he owes you money? And
What are you going to do?
Yeah, but they got the people.
You
that-
better get on drugs.
They had to find a way.
They got triple A and you whatever double A whatever
Single
alcohol
A, too.
anonymous drug. I mean, these guys can be rehabilitated.
Which ones?
Jim, there is no gray areas here. It is black and white. You
needs
shall
to be
be
changed.
declared permanently ineligible.
And
Period.
Smoking Jim,
Crazy
since you're
rule.
talking about drugs, there was an alcohol problem in the league. Babe Ruth suffered from it. He missed a few games with the biggest bellyache. Yeah, what happened was he drank so much beer, stayed up so late, ate so many hot dogs, he passed out on the field, couldn't even play.
And still hit 2 home runs.
Yeah, but then they did tell him that you have to tone that down. And they told him you weren't going to play, so he straightened up for like an hour or two.
Now, as per that rule, can baseball players bet on other sports, or are they
Yeah.
prohibited from gambling
Yeah,
across the board?
exactly.
They just can't bet
They
on
love
their
the
own
horses.
sport.
Zach, they love the horses like Sneaky
Zach,
Pete
it
did.
says right here, any who shall bet any sum whatsoever upon any baseball game. It's pretty clear. And it doesn't. If they bet on a football game,
Well, Lil Z, Michael Jordan bet on more basketball games than Pete Rose could ever bet in a lifetime
Chip, give him the
on
point
baseball games.
Okay.
But in
Tell him the point.
basketball,
Give that
they
to
don't
him.
have that hanging up
Give
in the
them
locker
to
room.
that.
yeah, because they don't have this rule. And if you play baseball, you agree to abide by.
Do you know
the
why they
rule.
have the rule, Smoking Jim? Because the owners were so corrupt and didn't pay the guys. They treated them like slaves. They owned them. You know, Babe Ruth was sold to the Red Sox for $100,000 and a mortgage and all that stuff, so the Red Sox could got money. So there was so much corruption. That's why my boy Shoeless Joe Jackson, even though he was never convicted of anything, never proved that. They said he got $5,000. He's not allowed to play. Judge Kenshaw Landis come in, as corrupt as could be as a judge, and change baseball that way. They had to clean it up.
Read the story about the 1919 Black Sox.
That's not happening. Watch a movie.
That will tell you why this rule was put into place.
Did the Black Sox become the White Sox?
No, they were the White Sox
were the
before.
White Sox,
and
and
when the writer wrote "Say It Ain't So," which no kid ever said that, they become the Black Sox.
No, they became the Black
There's
Sox.
a kid that said that.
No,
Might not have been that kid.
it was no kid.
But that being said,
Yeah. All right, enough of that. I can't wait to hear the Z time.
Well, I know the monotony that's coming with the Buccos talk for about 15 minutes.
Hold
to
it.
end the
We
show.
got it with Z
So
time.
we'll,
Hold it. I got a text.
We're going to jump
Please
into,
don't go to Z time. Only Munhall likes that. What
you
is
didn't
this?
get that text.
Quit texting in.
You didn't get that text.
Quit texting. Well, if you can embellish, I can surely embellish.
You
Let's
didn't
hear
get
it.
that
Come
text.
on. I can't wait any longer.
Smoking Jim, I don't know if you know this or not, but a good friend of and fan of the show, Showtime Sean Porter, fought on national TV on Saturday night
Great fight.
against Broner, and he ended up winning, but he was a huge underdog. So I'm not going to give any specific names, but a good friend of mine came away with $15K, Dan J, from Team
I think
Porter.
he's calling in right now. Tell him I did not. Oh, I'm getting another text from Munhall. I can't wait.
So, but anyways, shout out to Team Porter.
They just said, seriously, don't go to Z time. I got a legitimate text. I'll show you later.
Okay. Is it from somebody in the control room?
I don't know.
Because we could easily fix that.
I don't know. We'll have to find out. Stay tuned after the
I
show.
always wanted to test out that Jedi training that they get. But
Military.
yeah. But I was watching on Sunday, which was Father's Day. I know Smoking Jim was busy on the grill all day on Sunday out back.
What was he sleeping on?
But Sammy Vasquez moved to 19-0 as his rise continues. One of his biggest tests ever in his career on the biggest stage on national TV on CBS on Sunday afternoon at 4 p.m. Well, Smokey Jim, he got in there with a guy that was ready to do whatever it takes by any means necessary.
Wow.
Hit him with an illegal elbow, busted him up. Hit him with a headbutt, busted him up. Through all that, Sammy still, showed a lot of courage and a lot of fight. Overcame all that, got the unanimous decision, and now at this point, what can you really? It's now the case can be made that the kid's ready, to take the next step. He got all the tools. He continues to expand. If you do get to go back and watch this fight, you'll see the progression of young Vasquez from one of the first times on a Rod Sulka promoted card now to what you're seeing. But a big shout out to Michael McSorley, my man from Congreb. You single-handedly almost won that fight for Sammy Vasquez because you are a tremendous cut man, my friend. You are a true beast in the corner, man. He's pivotal.
He has been a guest on our show, too. We got to bring him back.
We need to bring him back.
What a gentleman, too.
But
First
and
class.
like I said, finally, again, I wanted to give a shout out to Sean Porter. When he comes to Pittsburgh, he will be paying a visit to Pittsburgh Sportsline. I can guarantee you that.
Is he really a friend?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. I know he's from Cleveland.
Akron. I don't know if Akron and Cleveland are the same.
No, they aren't.
It's like Aliquippa and
It's a suburb.
Pittsburgh. Aliquippa, they don't like each other, yeah.
So he's from Akron, and Broner was from Cincinnati. So it was billed as the Battle of Ohio, and the huge underdog came out on top, and that was Sean Porter. But what another discouraging thing, Smoking, was the discouraging amount of pay between the two fighters. Broner walked away with almost $1 million for that fight. Porter walked away with $150,000 because he was that underdogged in that fight, which I didn't quite understand.
How much did his dad take?
90%.
Well,
He
for all that
deserved
talk,
it.
for all
He was
that
yelling at the son afterwards when he got knocked down. I told you that was going to happen. He goes,
He
you
got
got
knocked
to go
down in the fight.
in the
last
last
round.
And he
He
come
almost
back from
lost.
that.
Broner did.
Yeah.
Because I only watched 4 rounds, and I had Broner winning all 4. But I mean,
You were so far off. Broner didn't win more than one round.
I had him winning all 4.
What were you
First
looking at
4.
on that TV?
Yeah, what were you watching?
And then they're saying Broner was being
It's
cheap,
a
and
small-
now
he was watching Jose Tabata.
Yeah, if it's the same thing, there's no justice there on his
He was
TV.
watching a replay to see if he got
I
hit.
watched that whole fight, Smoking Jim. And I've sat next to you on many fights, and I've disagreed with you on many fights on the scoring because I don't know what you're looking at. His shoes were fine, but Porter dominated a fight for a huge underdog. From the beginning to the end, when he got knocked down, I said, this fixes in because that's the only way Broner wins.
Really?
He knocked him down with a punch square right on the chin, knocked him right down. He looked dazed. He got back up, dominated the fight after that again.
I mean, I think Smoking Jim, anybody that knows anything about boxing, you had to admit that I don't sometimes understand the betting odds and the lines makers, because Sean Porter is a warrior.
Yeah.
He was going to come, he has a solid chin, and he was going to keep coming forward and keep putting the pressure and fighting Broner. So I was a little bit miffed that Sean Porter was such a huge underdog in that fight. I didn't feel that was, it was that much. I know the kind of heart that Sean Porter has.
Yeah, but maybe you know more about him than a lot of people nationally, and that makes a difference because I thought the same thing. But then their records and who they fought, I could see why there's such a disparity in the odds makers. Because Broner only lost one fight before that.
Yeah, I had Broner the 29-1 favorite.
Well, the nice part about it, that's his 22nd house that he's lost, being on Pittsburgh Sportsline.
I couldn't find anybody that would bet me on it.
You're stuck on his 29. I don't know what happened with this 29 number. He's making stuff up with no hairs and other things. So just let it rip.
Well, that's it for
Z-Time.
For Z-Time. I know everybody's dying to hear.
Hold it, one more minute. We still got On Location. You're throwing this baseball stuff up like it's going to happen because this is what's called baseball season. It's not football season yet. There'll be Bucko talk. It's coming after On Location.
You noticed the Bucko talk.
Hold it, wait. I got another text. That guy that told you, he said, bring it on. Whatever you said, the guy said, tell him, bring it on.
This kid from Homestead, man. I don't have to get ready. I'll stay ready, man.
Hold it. Just keep the show live. Hold on a second. Devin Shea, our military man. I know you're well trained. Just come out of El Salvador and you're traveling to other parts you can't tell us right now. The
Zimbabwe.
World. No, he's not going there, Smoking Jim. If you can tell him where it is, he might be able to go. But we don't.
Southern Africa.
We don't have a military base there.
Give him directions.
No, don't have him drive there. You might have one problem.
You look like Mr. Magoo.
Glove. All right, On Location. We're at Duke's Rib House and Grill. We actually had an all-star Hall of Fame cast of guests. Some were surprise guests. I want to thank Brandy Hogan for being a great guest who, listen to this, traveled 2.5 hours from Columbus to be on Pittsburgh Sportsline. So I had to give her a shout out for sure. I was honored. Then I meet a gentleman who was an hour early, the complete opposite of Smoking Jim Frazier. And he goes, hey, we're friends on Facebook. I thought I'd come out to watch my daughter. And he goes, yeah, I'm Mark Hogan. And I said, hey, it's an honor to meet you. He goes, can I help you? I said, so far, you're at an advantage over Smoking Jim. I said, are you really friends with him? He goes, yeah, I claim that. I'm friends with him. So we got along very well. He sat and watched me bring everything up the steps, so we're good, like you would do. So Mark was there, and he's just a great guy. Plus, he's a great legendary coach and athlete.
Yes, sir.
So I asked him, since Dave Cable has us switching around with our backs to the audience, I look back, would you like to be on the show? He come on the show. We had a great interview with him. Mm-hmm. Then another surprise. Hall of Famer, WNBA star, you name it in the Pittsburgh area. Ashley Battle was a huge fan of Pittsburgh Sportsline. She showed up because she lives 5 minutes away to support her friend Brandy, who she knows since, they were kids and they ran track together. So I said, we might as well put you on if you make the effort to come in here. So we put her on for a few minutes, even though she said she wasn't all made up for Smoking Jim and a sweetie photo. We did get a sweetie for Jimmy photo or two. That's exclusively women in Smoking Jim that are just for Pittsburgh Sportsline, and I'm still looking for that. But thanks, Bill Boyce, for all the photos. So then we had a famous musician in the area out of Mount Lebanon, Rick Purcell, a legendary music family. Not only is he a great musician, entertainer, I've heard him, You should check him out. He gives his phone number out so you can call him for private parties and everything else. But he loves talking sports. And I had to shut him down because he could keep talking sports better than almost anybody we have on there, and he goes by the facts. Rarely does he put in anything that's not factual, so it's a pleasure to have him on. Then we had Billy Nardosi on. Like I gave you a little prelude, this is one of the nicest guys I know from Greentree. He puts poems out in the Post-Gazette, and he found out that I've been reading them for years. He's like, Alan, I didn't know that. So he endeared himself to Pittsburgh Sportsline because he baked a dozen chocolate chip cookies from Giant Eagle.
Wow.
So we did share. Sorry, Chip.
Baked a dozen chocolate chip cookies from Giant Eagle.
Yeah, you understand. He's a funny guy. He said we're funny. So he did bring that. And then, Zach, can you show what he brought for you?
Oh, man.
He said, where's the Amish assassin? I said, he's working. So for some reason, he come up with Zodiac. I think it's something with the Z.
Nice. I like that.
And he gave Smokin' Jim the Jovial Award. And he called me the Smiling Man now. So I guess with all those smiles in the photo. So thanks, Billy. And you can get a hold of him, like I said, at Poems. You'll see him everywhere. And now, he's not a sports guy. And he's on The Fan. How crazy is that? Because he wrote a couple poems. They talked about him. Then he wrote a poem for The Fan.
Colin Dunlap is the one that has been...
Exactly. I'm not a huge fan of The Fan because some of the things they do and say, well, you can come here for a different look on it.
Well, you know, when it's, the only reason I pay attention to it because, you like to get a feel for the pulse of what the people in Pittsburgh are talking about. But most of what I hear on there is just comical.
I think you could admit, Chip, if you listen to it enough, you come away taking more from the updates, the sports updates, than you do the actual content of the shows, of the talk shows. Smoking Jim.
Well, and the thing is about that, just like with us here, I mean, these guys come across as being knowledgeable, but they're just offering one person's opinion, just the same as we are, no different. I mean, all of us share our opinions. Sometimes we hit the mark, sometimes we miss it by a mile.
Paul Alexander and John Burton used to give some good ones.
Yeah.
Good sports talk.
Yeah, they do. They're friends of ours, or friends of mine. I don't know if you stole them as friends off of me.
Huge fan of Stan Saver, 970.
Yeah, Stan's the man. No doubt about it. Well, that's our on location, Smokin' Jim. And like I always say, never let the facts get in the way of your opinions. And I promote that every day and everywhere we go because I constantly hear those opinions.
It looks like Smokin' Jim got a West Virginia warm-up suit on.
Forget about that. We're going to Bucko talk. The Buccos right now at the top of the first. Bases loaded.
No, it's 3-0, bottom of the first.
Okay, I didn't get the update.
Who's
Chip
winning?
is...
Cincinnati.
Okay.
But, right now the Pirates are in a nice stretch. 16 of their next 19 games are going to be played here at PNC Park. And that goes up to the All-Star break. The last game played before the All-Star break will be the fourth game of a 4-game series here against the St. Louis Cardinals. That's
the
Sunday
biggest
night
series
game.
of the year.
Sunday night game, 8 o'clock, national TV. It's been a while since the Pirates have graced the national airwaves. So,
when is that, Chip?
Pardon me?
When is that?
That's July 12th. That's a Sunday night.
Maybe somebody in your family can get you a birthday present, baseball tickets.
But the Pirates right now, they've got a record of 21-11 at home, so they play much better at home than they do away. They play about 500 baseball on the road, and the Pirates are in a pretty good place. Their pitching staff has been lights out all year. They ran a little bump on the road in Washington this past weekend where you not only had AJ, for as badly as he pitched on Friday night, he gave up 14 hits, which is the most hits he's ever given up in his career. He only gave up 4 runs, and the Pirates were really in that game. The only problem was the bats went cold. Then Saturday, obviously, Liriano pitching, and we ran into Max Scherzer. And Max Scherzer was the way he was pitching was incredible.
Even Smokin' Jim couldn't hit him.
I got back home after the, I was listening to the game, and I heard that he had a perfect game going into the 8th, so I watched the last 2 innings, and, there was a lot of hubbub about, what Tabata did. Tabata went up to bat. He didn't
do anything.
He didn't do anything wrong. In baseball, you fight to the last out. There's 27 outs in a baseball game, and you never give in, and you never give anybody. You're not supposed to stand there with the bat on your shoulder and let
Chip, what pitch was it? Weren't there about 9 pitches?
No, he had fouled off about 4 or 5, and his count was 2-2. and then he decided to throw inside, and he threw a little too far inside and
That
clipped
ball
his
was
elbow.
wicked.
And the person I blame for that is not Tabata, it's Max Scherzer, because if it was me pitching, I'd have pitched him down and away. He would have probably swung and missed at a ball because the way the ball was moving.
With his movement, I'd have thrown down the middle of the plate, and that ball would have moved a foot.
Yeah, but that being said, the Pirates avoided having a perfect game pitched against them, which still has yet to be done in the history of the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Guess Jose ain't still the laziest guy in baseball, huh?
No, you never know what's going to happen.
That minor league.
And at that time, the
Minor
Pirates
leagues
were
helped
losing
them.
9-0. And you know what? Crazier things have happened. I've seen it happen. So you play to the last out. And then Sunday, Charlie Morton, I don't know. Charlie forgot. I thought he was pitching batting practice, but he got shelled. He made last.
And that'll happen.
But this happens, So we got couple of 3-game series. We got the Reds tonight, tomorrow night, Thursday night, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We got the Braves. I'll be down there Friday and Saturday evening to enjoy
Don't they
a
go
couple
away
of
for
Buckeye
a
victories.
3-game?
We go away
a
for
little
a
short
3-game,
3 games.
and then we've got I believe 10 games back at home to the All-Star break. So
What's your excuse for tonight so far?
the game's not over. They're in the first. Let me clue you in something, my friend. Okay, baseball games are 9 innings long. Okay, they are not over after the first inning. See,
You better
let
me explain it in football terms. You have 4 quarters, so you guys can panic after you're down 22-0 in the first quarter, because you still got 3 quarters to go, which is 3 quarters of the game. But in football, your mindset is very simplistic. Yeah. If you're scoring, you're going to win. If you're not scoring, you're going to lose.
Yeah, I think you're confusing Jim again, because when you tell Jim he's got 4 quarters, he thinks he's got $1.50.
You're recycling a lot of good stuff, Chip. What's nice about Smoking Jim, it's all fresh to him. Whatever you say is fresh.
I love your enthusiasm, gentlemen, and your optimism for that team and that franchise, man. I wish it could resonate down to this side, but I'm an optimist and I'm a realist, and I hope that they're as good as advertised, because we're going to find out. That's the beauty of the game. So that's why we play it.
I do want to speak to one other comment that my good friend Jim Frazier has spoken to.
Which one?
And in the last 19 years, since baseball has instituted the wild card game, okay, a wild card team. 12 of those teams have made it to the World Series. 3 of them have won it all. And last year, the 2 teams that played for the World Series were both wild card teams. So,
and how many teams are there now compared to the 8
so
teams
does that
they
mean
used
the
to have?
San Francisco Giants last year were not the world champs because they were a wild card
Yes.
team?
There's a lot of teams over the years that probably would have won World Series had there been wild cards.
Well,
But baseball,
No, they couldn't. There were only 8 teams.
But they're going to be taking
There were 8
into account.
teams.
Now
Where
there's
you
30
at?
teams. Back in the
Watered
early 70s,
down.
there was 24.
Watered.
That's,
Like
one of the,
football.
that's one of the biggest criticisms of the level of pitching in the major leagues is that that a lot of guys that are playing in the major leagues right now would have been no better than AAA players their whole careers
We got some
had it not
spring-
been the fact that
we
there's
got
more
some
games.
spray water arms on our staff too.
Really?
That's why they were the
Jim,
number
do you
one
know what-
pitching
do you know what
staff in the
statistically where
league.
the Pirates
Don't even
pitching
go
staff
there, Chip. They're
ranks?
facts.
Do you know where the pitching staff ranks?
Can we get an update? Hey guys, in the farm system, can we get an update on like Jameson Town?
Jameson Taillon is getting ready to start pitching live batters. I read tonight that he has suffered an abdominal strain, a little bit of setback, but his arm is fine. It's healing well.
Tell them about Josh Bell.
Josh Bell's hitting the cover off the ball. He will one day
Be a first baseman.
Be our first baseman once Pedro Alvarez outlives his useful life. And I don't expect to see Pedro Alvarez much past June or July next year. Ultimately, we'll trade him for whatever we can get for him. And, he'll go to an American League team. He'll be a
Probably the Blue
DH.
Jays.
But as much as I love Pedro Alvarez and his work ethic, he just his consistency lacks at the bat.
I wouldn't give up on him.
I just wish he would have went like Tabata to the minor leagues. Made him hungry. He lost weight.
Somebody was on the show yesterday and said that he's destined to be a designated hitter.
Rick Purcell.
Rick said that,
And I said, I don't know if he can bat fourth, the cleanup, because psychologically, he's sort of like some football players.
Well, you know, and I think how that might work well for him in the American League, and his defensive flaws, which are
Throwing,
exposed,
catching.
I think that affects him at bat because
does.
it gets into his head. He's worried about am I going to throw the ball?
He's a worrier.
Am I going to throw the ball to the right base, or am I going to throw it into the stands? But if all he has to focus on is hitting, I think it ultimately would be.
And you make a good point, Chip, because I think that having to bat affects a lot of pitchers in the National League. So we should go to a DH all throughout baseball.
Never.
What I think you should do is watch the American League game. You have that huge TV. Just watch the American League games.
I love it.
Don't watch the NL.
I
don't know when you watch your first
smack
one.
on soccer and all kinds of other sports, man.
I want to
I'd rather
address your
fight
passion.
ISIS than watch baseball.
I want to address your passion about us with the Pirates. I have that same passion for the Steelers. So you act like you have a split personality like my brother from another mother, Smoking Jim Frazier, who admits he does on just different things. But we still have the same passion for Pittsburgh sports. Now our soccer teams, the Riverhounds, rarely do I hear Zach Brenner bring them up.
Well, and I didn't hear he didn't bring up the World Cup game played last night by the American women who won 2-0 against Colombia.
And he's a fan of that.
The game. And they've made it to the round of 16. They're going to be playing against China Friday night.
The solo play?
Yes, she is. She's a goaltender. She's got 3 shutouts in a row. They've given up 1 goal in 4 tournament games.
The thing that's going to hurt the U.S. women's soccer team is they had 2 unfortunate yellow cards towards the end of that game. That now 2 of their better players in the midfield are going to be out for the next game against China.
I think there's a conspiracy.
And the interesting thing is that the United States women's team is extremely deep and very talented, and I really don't think that it's going to adversely affect them for a game. But I did see 2 yellow cards get pulled last night. But the only time I really pay attention to soccer, and I'll be honest with people, is when the World Cup's played, whether it's the men or the women. The passion that's played with that game, and that is the most watched sport on the planet. You think. We get 120 million people watching the Super Bowl on Super Bowl Sunday, and we think that's something.
Billion.
Billions with a B is what was watching these games last night.
Well, don't count me in on the billions. I'm like Zach Brenner when he watches baseball or talks baseball. I would rather go paint and then just stare at the paint drying so then I know when to put another coat on. I said that last year. But I'm about Go USA. Will I watch a minute or 2 of the team? You bet I will.
I'll tell you
because I'm a fan of everything USA.
If you could be objective and you actually sit and watch the game, there's a tremendous amount of skill. And the thing.
I don't doubt that.
The thing that's different about soccer than basketball, football, baseball, these women or men run for 90 minutes. They don't get television timeout. They don't get to halt play. They run for 45 minutes. They have their halftime.
Except for when they're flopping.
What's this flopping?
There's a lot of that going around too.
How does that happen?
Women's World Cup. A lot of dives, a lot of flopping.
I see more flopping in the NBA.
And how about Phil?
So much so that they had to make a rule for it.
How about Phil Jackson, the Zen master, up in the Knicks land? Like he doesn't have enough problems, being the president of the Knicks. Wants to interject and say that LeBron travels every time he touches the ball. Smoking Jim Frazier.
Isn't that obvious?
True. Now let me tell you something. If you see a basketball game where players aren't traveling, you're not watching basketball.
But my message to Phil Jackson is you got enough problems up there with the Knicks. Worry about the Knicks. Don't worry about LeBron traveling.
Yeah, but Jackson's a legend. He can say that stuff.
And I think part of the problem that Phil Jackson has in New York is Carmelo Anthony because they've never seen a more selfish player in the NBA.
So speaking of passion, does the Pittsburgh Passion play home this week in the playoffs?
Ask Matt Harkins.
Is Matt here?
Yeah, Matt Harkins is in here. He's one of the guys in the control room.
All right, we got to find out.
We don't have any passion signs here anymore.
They came late.
That's what threw me off.
What did he say, Tiger? Did you get a report from the control room? Tell him to talk to you instantly. We need a report and feedback. No more text. It's taking too long.
Tiger's
can speak.
Throat is still sore from the Mick Jagger concert.
The Passion is not. He didn't go. The Passion is not playing.
They do. I do believe they have I think that playoff game might be this weekend. And they are playing.
I thought it was last
I
weekend.
think they're
They
playing
went to
New York.
Baltimore last weekend, I think, to make up do a
they're-
makeup game.
Okay, they're playing New York here for the first round of the playoffs. And I actually saw them play New York on their way to the championship last year here in the playoffs. And I got to tell you, those women can play football.
Playoffs
and
start
if you
this
did not
Saturday.
know that there were women underneath those helmets, you would not know that those were women playing football.
Playoffs.
I agree, Chip.
We got
I've
all meet
watched
down
them.
there for the
Playoffs
games.
start
This Saturday. What time is it?
Well,
We don't have a time. We just got this Saturday.
Probably 7:30 at George Couple Stadium.
I might go.
Yeah.
We got to get media passes. We got Matt Harkins working on it for us. We're all friends with the Passion. Teresa
the PR.
Kahn.
He's the PR guy.
I don't know what
Definitely
you're
won't be
calling
there.
them.
So hey, just to touch base on all the major sports teams in Pittsburgh, we got the Pittsburgh Penguins that are trying to figure out how are we going to get a top six winger, and it's the rumors have it out of the winter meetings that they're looking to move Brandon Sutter.
Yeah.
And trying to bring in a winger, and I'd say, I don't know if this is going to work because you're trying to add by subtracting. You're going to lose your third line center, and I think Brandon Sutter was a perfectly adequate third line center. You've got Pasquale Dupuis coming back, and he's slated to be a third line winger. They don't predict him to be skating on one of the top two lines, and they're looking for wingers for Crosby and Malkin, and there's quite a number of people that they're talking about, one of them being Phil Kessel, and I think the thing that keeps Phil Kessel from being viable here in Pittsburgh is his $8 million price tag, because right now, as it stands, the Penguins are $13 million under the cap, and they spend that much of the cap money they have available on one player. What's that going to leave them with?
I think you trade Malkin.
Well, they keep saying that they won't, and
And I heard rumors he's not unhappy.
I think that settles
I
your
heard he's
winger
not
dilemma.
unhappy.
I think that settles your winger dilemma. You trade Malkin, you get a winger or two.
And then you're down to one star center, and the Penguins put themselves in quite a pickle because this win now mentality, and I hear this all the time in regards to the Pirates. Trade this person, trade that person. Well, the Penguins had stocked their farm system, and Ray Shero and Mike Rutherford have bit by bit traded away all the pieces. So now we've got no young talent in our farm system. We've got a small handful of quality players on the big roster, and we saw what happened with the lack of depth last year. We had a number of injuries,
Too many.
and we could not overcome it. We lost Ollie Mata, we lost Dupuis. Chris
Right.
Kunitz is, I don't know,
Getting old.
his best days are behind
And
him.
that happens.
Well,
One thing I'll disagree with you on the Penguins. I was with that camp, and Penguins get a lot of injuries. People get hurt. I was glad that they took this chance. I just was sad that the players they brought in who were stars on other teams weren't stars with us.
And none of them
so, I give them credit because they did go out and get it to win it. And you know what? It didn't work, so it blew up.
and
But it proves your point.
None of them are here. And okay, right now, and I'll make this quick because we're going to wrap up.
Yeah.
The Chicago Blackhawks are the model team in the NHL.
Love them.
They were trying to make a trade for Patrick Sharp, and they want to take the number one draft pick from last year from the Penguins, and they want to take Bo Bennett. Now look at this. Why would the Blackhawks be interested in Bo Bennett? He hasn't done anything here, but the Blackhawks see something in him. They could probably turn him into an all-star.
Well, I appreciate it. We had a lot of great sports talk, and that fiction and fact, Smoking Jim's starting to permeate
How
the
many
whole
days
show.
till the Trub?
Well, we don't even care about that because I'm a Steeler fan, but one season at a time. Watch the Passion at 7 o'clock Saturday night at George Couple Stadium. We're working on media passes right now. We'll see what we can do because we got Matt trapped in the control
won't be
room.
there.
Thanks, everybody, for watching the show. We appreciate it. Be safe out there and stay Joey strong. Remember Joey. Take care.